In today's video, we're going to be kind of reflecting on the class a little bit. I'm going to talk about what I have learned in this class that I can use in any part of journalism. We're also going to be talking about the way that sports writing has changed during the coronavirus, during the month of March, April, and May. And then we're also going to be reflecting on what is happening in the sports world now and why it matters. So yeah, let's get into it. To start, there was many things that I learned in this class that I think could help me in my journalistic endeavors. But I think the most important thing that I learned happened on the first couple days of class. You asked the question: Is sports journalism considered, real journalism? And I had to think about that for a while before I would raise my hand. And I would say that it was, and it still is, considered real journalism. Because if you think about a sporting event, you pretty much cover it the same way that you would cover any other event. You get interviews from important people, you present facts, and you tell a story, just like in any other story that you'd be writing based on any other event. There's always key players, rising action, a climax. All those themes are present in sports journalism. And so I think that is the thing that I really took to heart most, because when I first came to Ball State, I really only wanted to be a sports journalist. And I think learning that sports journalism has the same themes as, hard journalism or any other type of journalism really opened my eyes and opened my mindset to being open to try different things other than sports. Moving into the second point, how has sports writing changed? I really appreciated having Robbie come talk to us, Robbie General come talk to us, and speak on how his day-to-day has changed. I learned a lot from him there. And I think that sports journalism is definitely moving more towards telling personal stories, profile stories, feature type stories instead of game stories. We had mentioned in class that game stories are already on their way out because of social media and just different apps that can get us that same information. So I think this time has really solidified those changes, and you'll see, sports newsrooms start to move to only personal stories or only feature stories, because in my opinion, that's what gets the most readership nowadays. So moving into my next point, what is happening in the sports world and what are my thoughts on it? I think we really need sports back soon. We really just need business back in general soon, but I think sports is a key aspect in American culture, and it is also very important um, to colleges and universities. I'm in a sports finance class right now, and so that's been fresh in my mind how the NCAA has been dealing with all this. And in that class, I learned that majority of athletic departments in colleges are not profitable, and if college football and men's basketball were taken out of the equation, none of the athletic departments would be profitable. Um, so it'll be interesting to see how they make up for some lost revenue if they do dip into the football season. They already canceled March Madness, so they lost some revenue there. It'll be interesting to see the changes that the NCAA makes. And it's also been interesting to just see that the league's adapting in professional sports. We saw the NFL draft a couple nights ago that was done remotely. Everybody was at home. You saw, coaches and players, setting up the living rooms. They had to make sure the camera was ready and all the lights were ready and the audio was working. So it's just a huge change. But it turned out pretty good in my opinion. And some other changes, we see Dana White. It was reported that he recently purchased an island so that he could continue the UFC. And then the NBA, it was reported that they were looking into potentially playing the playoffs, and their players would have to stay in a hotel, no fans allowed, things of that nature. So leagues are just having to adapt, and they're willing to try almost anything to get sports back. And I think it just shows you how important sports are. Just through that, these leagues are willing to make drastic changes just to make sure that their games are played and their season continues. Um, So yeah, it's an interesting time that we're living in right now, but it's also um, pretty cool to sit back and reflect on the industry and what's going on.